Hi all students, welcome to Telikilaas. Telikilaas is brought to you by Ministry of Education, data powered by the Raghavan Uridu, and this is your business lesson. We are still on Unit 3. I'm Ashia Miss from Bila International High School and this subject is coordinated by CHSC. Now let's have a look at today's lesson objectives. Now, at the end of the lesson, students must be able to understand what is meant by competitive advantage, identify the different approaches to achieve a competitive advantage based on Porter's strategic matrix, be able to apply Porter's strategic matrix in answers, and critically think about Porter's strategic matrix. Now, before we start with today's lesson, let's have a recap from our last class. We talked about ends of matrix, but in today's lesson, we will go through it with an example from Air Asia and how they applied ends of matrix in their business. Now, what is ends of growth strategies? It's a tool used by managers to determine their products and market growth strategies. Ends of matrix show whether a business should expand within new or existing market or through new or existing product. As you already know, the four options available by using an ends of matrix is market penetration, product development, market development, and diversification. Now let's have a look one by one. Now, before we go in, let's have a look at what market penetration is. It aims to sell existing products into existing market. Now, this strategy is used to increase or maintain market share of existing product, increase usage by existing customers, ensuring dominance in growing markets, drive out competitor in mature markets. Now, this strategy involves lower risk since a company knows the product and market segment very well. Now, let's have a look at what Air Asia has done. Now, how Air Asia implemented market penetration. Now, they started with a big royalty program, offered free seat for their members. They created an application. Also, they increased frequency of flights to certain destinations. Now, market development. Market development refers to the strategy where companies aims to sell existing product in new unexplored markets. This is done by identifying market in new geographical locations, utilizing new distribution channel, presenting products in new ways. Now let's have a look what AirAsia has done. Now AirAsia used its expertise and experience in Malaysia to expand into new hubs like Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, India, and many other countries. So they developed their market and now they actually travel to a lot of many countries in the world. Now looking at product development. Product development strategy is when a company introduces new products into existing markets to differentiate itself from other competitors. The strategy focuses on identifying changing customer needs, the creation of new products through research and development, and launching new and unique trend. Now, looking at AirAsia, how they developed products. Now, variety of ancillary products and services like Rocky onboard Wi-Fi. They actually started with Wi-Fi on their flight. Some of their flights will have a Wi-Fi called Rocky on board. They also have Excite in-flight entertainment, those who wish to purchase it. They also offer gourmet food choices for the customers to buy, and private space. You can pay more for your seating spaces. AirAsia also diversified. Before we go into AirAsia's diversification strategy, we'll have a look at what diversification is. Diversification strategy involves branching out into new products and into new territories. Business diversify for the following reasons. Being in a single industry can be very risky. New technologies, new products, or fast changing consumer preferences can destroy a particular business. So it's always good to have a variety. Now, therefore, AirAsia also has used a diversification strategy where they went into hotel businesses as well. So, go holiday and get a room. This forward integration strategy enabled the carrier to derive its revenue by incorporating a service fee into the hotel rates. AirAsia is expanding on its flight services on its scheduled flights which includes cargo, courier, and mail services. So likewise, AirAsia has also expanded their business into different products and into different markets, whereby diversifying and reducing the risk. Now, I hope you have understood once again this ENSOF matrix, how it is actually applied into a real life company. Now, let's have a look at today's lesson. Now, today's lesson is actually about Porter's generic model. Now, what is Porter's generic strategy? Simply put, it is a way of devising business strategies for a competitive advantage. Now, the challenge facing marketing strategy of business is to find a way of achieving a sustainable competitive advantage over the other competing products. Now, before we go into today's lesson, let me first show you AirAsia's strategy, and you can think about what strategy does it fit based on the Porter's generic model. Now let me show you a small interview taken from small interview that I have taken from its CEO.
I born in KL in Bukit Bintang. Well, I was always surrounded by business because my mother sold Tupperware. And she was an incredible woman who could sell ice to an Eskimo. So I was always surrounded by sales and motivation and the dealer network. I've always looked at business now, even more so, as is that something people want, right? So it wasn't the airline business so much, it was do people want to fly cheaply, right? Do people like to travel? The rest was, well, let's do it. I mean, easier said than done. But it's a product that was needed in Southeast Asia, was needed in Malaysia, and that was what drove me into doing it.
I said I have this idea of setting up a low-cost airline so everyone can fly. And we started AirAsia on December the 8th, 2001, with the 2 planes there, 254 terrified staff.
Our tagline is now everyone can fly. Now everyone can fly means 2 things. One is the low fare to enable a larger part of the demographic to come into the flying market. And 2 is to provide connectivity to places that never had connectivity. That won't end in my career, it will be the next CEO and the next CEO. I keep reminding people it's not about flying to Seoul 20 times a day.
Now, based on what AirAsia CEO has said, their main strategy is focused on cost leadership, or rather a low-cost airline where they get a competitive advantage by charging a very low price from customers. Now, Porter's generic model focuses mainly on how to achieve a competitive advantage. So let's have first look at what is a competitive advantage. Now, competitive advantage is just a way of getting high profit than competitors in the market. Now, it is an advantage over competitors gained by offering consumers greater value, either by means of lower prices or by providing greater benefits and services that justifies higher prices. Now, in Porter's approach, Porter suggested 2 overall business strategies that could be followed in order to gain competitive advantage. Porter argued that differentiation and low cost are effective strategies for firms to gain a competitive advantage. Further explanation on these 2 dimensions. Now, one dimension is the scope of the strategy, whether it's a broad market or whether it's a narrow market. The second dimension is the source of competitive advantage. Is it by offering a differentiated product, or is it by offering a low-cost product? Now, let's have a look at Porter's strategic matrix. Now, keep in mind that Porter's generic strategy and Porter's strategic matrix is same. Some textbooks use these 2 different versions of name, but it's still the same. Now, Porter's strategic matrix focuses on 3 areas here. One is cost leadership, one is differentiation, the other one is focus. Now, like I said, one dimension of the Porter's strategy is on the market, whether it's a mass market or whether it's a niche market. So focus mainly is for the narrow market or the niche market. The cost leadership and differentiation focuses on the mass market. Porter's strategic matrix is used to identify the sources of competitive advantage that a business might achieve in a market. Porter stated that any business that does not adopt one of these three generic strategies is stuck in the middle and unlikely to succeed. Now let's have a look at cost leadership. Now, cost leadership involves trying to be the lowest cost provider in the market. This does not necessarily mean that the business will offer the lowest price, although this may be an option. Generally, the firm that is able to operate as the lowest cost provider in a market will compete in two ways: increasing profit while still charging market level prices, increasing market share. A firm will achieve lowest cost by operating on a large scale. They will usually offer a basic product with limits to added value. The level of service and number of available versions of the product will be minimal, like the case of AirAsia. Now, as you already know, AirAsia is a budget airline. So basically what they offer is a basic product that is flying cheaply. So their main slogan is also now everyone can fly. So you can afford a ticket to a destination at a very low price, but you will not be given any other benefits by purchasing a ticket. You will have to buy, like they will have offerings. If you want food, you can still buy your food. If you want a comfortable seat, you can upgrade your seat, and so on. Now, why low cost leadership is important? If selling prices are broadly similar, the lowest cost operator will enjoy the highest profit. Lowest cost operator can also offer the lowest prices. Now, what is a more suitable market for low cost leadership strategy? Basically, when you have a standard product, little product differentiation, and branding relatively unimportant. So these kind of categories are more suitable for a low cost leadership strategy. Likely features of a low-cost operator. Now, high levels of productivity and efficiency, high capacity utilization, large scale which results in economies of scale, use bargaining power to negotiate lowest prices from suppliers, lean production methods and culture, access to the widest and most important distribution channel. So these are some of the features you might find from a low-cost operator. Some successful companies who are on low-cost strategies, like Ryanair, just like AirAsia, Ryanair is a European airline where they offer the basic flying experience to the people at a very low price. Walmart, Aldi, Poundland. So these are some examples from the UK businesses. Now, looking at differentiation. Now, differentiation strategy aims to offer a product that is distinctively different from the competition, with the customer valuing that differentiation. This involves a business operating in a mass market with a unique position instead of the lowest cost position. The main advantage of differentiation is the business can charge premium pricing. Now, since we took an example from the airline industry, a differentiation strategy example could be Singapore Airlines. Now, you can still fly the same destination as an Air Asia, but the price you pay for a Singapore airline ticket will be probably two or three times higher. Why? Because it comes with added value, and then people are willing to pay this added value. So that is what differentiation is all about. Now, how to achieve differentiation? It could be adopted by any business provided that it can deliver a way of differentiating itself from the competition. A business will do this through adding value through a unique way. This may include quality, design, brand identity, or customer service. Now, superior product quality like include features, benefits, durability, reliability. So, for example, if you compare Air Asia and Singapore Airlines, probably the seats you get would be more comfortable in Singapore Airlines. Branding, strong customer recognition and desire, brand loyalty, creation of the brand loyalty. Some people are very loyal to their brand. For example, Apple phone, people who use Apple products, they are very loyal to their product. Just like Samsung, people who are very much into Samsung brand, they will stick with the same brand. Wide distribution across all major channels, that is, a product of brand is an essential item to be stocked by retailers. Sustained promotion, often dominated by advertising, sponsorship, etc. So some examples of successful differentiation strategies used by some companies like Costa Coffee, Dyson, Apple, and so on. So these companies have been providing a differentiated product, and people have been willing to pay a higher price for them uh, to purchase, because people value the added value part in the product. Now coming to now focus. Focus is the narrow market. So this strategy involves targeting a narrow range of customers in one or two ways. So again, a smaller market, but the same thing: cost focus, differentiation focus. Cost focus emphasizes cost minimization within a focused niche market, and differentiation focus following different or unique strategy within a focused market. Now, these strategies are closely aligned to niche marketing. It tends to be used by small or very specialized firms. A business focusing on a very narrow segment of the market, it is able to gain a competitive advantage by understanding its customers very well. A focused strategy will have less competition and high profit margin. Now let's have a look at when you are stuck in the middle. Now, being stuck in the middle. Now, being stuck in the middle means you are not in a low cost. At the same time, you are also not categorized as a differentiation. So this is when Porter referred to it as stuck in the middle. Now, mostly when you are stuck in the middle, Porter believes that the company will not be successful because you are neither one of them, and you don't know exactly which needs to be done, and like you cannot really charge a high price, you cannot really charge a low price. So these are some example of stuck in the middle companies like McDonald's or Morrison's, Sony, WHS Smith. So these are companies categorized where people don't refer to them as very high valued, but also people don't refer to them as a budget kind of places to shop as well. So it's kind of stuck in the middle. However, there's what is called as a hybrid strategy. Now, this could be an evaluation point that you can use in your answers. Now, differentiation and low cost can also happen together. Now, it's called a hybrid strategy, or rather having a mix. Now, IKEA is a one example where we can take where this hybrid strategy falls into. Now, value proposition, now stylish furniture, good quality, low prices, achieve its low prices via cost leadership. Furniture is flat packed to reduce storage space, so they cut down cost on that. Large out of town retail units spread fixed cost. Products are made in China and Malaysia, reducing unit cost because the labor cost is lower there. Low margins, high volume allows economies of scale, and they also differentiate using unique, unusual design. It's very famous. The IKEA furnitures are very famous all over the world for their unique style, unusual design, and they have a very unique way of keeping their furnitures at a differentiated size, which actually makes it compulsory for the customer to buy their same other products as well. For example, if you buy a bed frame, you have to buy a mattress from IKEA only, because it's a customized size, it's a differentiated size, it's not a normal size that is common for the rest of the furnitures in the market. Also, they have localization of product range. For certain countries, they have different products which is customized to their needs and culture, and targeting mainly the young global middle class. So basically, we can say, even though Porter has stated that a stuck in the middle is not a very successful strategy, but here IKEA is giving us an example of differentiation and a low-cost strategy put together. We call it as a hybrid strategy. Now, I hope you have understood today's lesson. Um, Now, before we conclude, let's have a look. It's a Porter strategic matrix. It's a matrix used as a tool to identify the competitive advantage of a business which might adopt. Now, there are three basic areas here. One is cost leadership. The other one is differentiation. Cost leadership and differentiation is for the mass market, and the focus is mainly for the narrow market, where you have cost focus and differentiation focus. Now, I would like to thank Ms. Shinaza, Head of Department, and her team from CHSC for coordinating and a contact check of this lesson. Thank you. Okay, in this lesson, I have not included a question, but you go through your textbook and there will be a checkout point at the end of the chapter. You can try to figure out answers for those questions and understand this concept of Porter's generic model. Thank you.